Hey there everyone, this is John with my new channel, Limitless Drift RC. Today I was going to touch on how I hydro dip my bodies. I've had a lot of people ask me questions on what kind of paint I use. Do I dip the inside? Do I dip the outside? Is it a film? All kinds of little things here and there, and I hoped to touch on all those and show you my process. So this BMW was my first attempt. It was a 4-color dip. It was backed with silver. I used a cobalt blue, a teal, a white, and a black. This was my second dip, and I learned a lot from the first one. So this one's just a 2-color. This one is pink and green, and it is backed with black. I'm really happy with how they both came out, and I'm excited to show you guys how I do this. So today I have an extra MST 86RB, which is the same body as this one. I'll be dipping it, and I just use the mask that come with it. It's just the same regular kind of masking tape style mask. You can use liquid mask, you can use vinyl. It pretty much works with anything that's slightly water repellent. You're not like soaking the body, so it will get wet. The tape will get wet, but it shouldn't get wet enough to let the paint bleed or come off. I do put these on using the back of my nail, and I really rub them into place so they're good and like sealed to the body. So that's pretty much the only thing I do, I guess, that's special. I'm sure that's how most people do it anyways. I'm going to be doing a 4-color dip today. It's going to be a little different than what I normally do. I'm going to try to experiment a little bit so you guys can ride along with me on that journey. So today I'm going to be using candy colors. This is Tamiya PS paint, so I use polycarbonate paint just like you do on any RC car body. Today I'm going to be trying the translucent light blue, the candy blue, the translucent purple, candy purple, and then smoke, which is usually used to like tint windows. I'm going to try that as my black. And see how that turns out. But smoke is like a translucent black. I'm going to be backing these 3 colors with a translucent silver. I'm going to try to do translucent and I'm going to do light coats of it because all of that is going to be backed by lame flake. So we're going to see if we can get this really metallic and shiny. These are non-metallic bodies. None of the paint in here has any kind of flake, so I figured let's try some candy stuff. Let's see if I can lay some of this lame flake down. And then I'll probably be backing all of that with either bright silver or black, just depending on how I feel it's going. So I will get the bucket set up full of water. I just use a large tote filled with water. I usually do it outside of my backyard. So I'll get the camera set up, I'll get the bucket set up, I'll get the body out there, I'll bring you guys along with me. So I will see you when I get that all set up. All right, everyone, so I'm out here with my tote filled with water. I don't actually know the dimensions of this. I just know that it will comfortably hold the body with room to spare on all sides. I filled it up almost all the way. You actually don't need to get the body, like, it doesn't have to be as deep as the body is wide, because you can rotate this thing under the water, then you can get it to move around in the way you need to. So as far as filling it up goes, fill it up as deep as you think you'll need. I do as high as I can. You can see my previous water lines for the times I've dipped. If you have dipped before, make sure you clean this thing out pretty well. I didn't, so I have a bunch of little flakes floating around, which I will take care as needed. If this is your first time dipping, you won't have this problem. But if you've dipped before, you usually have paint residue on your tote. Anyways, it's pretty hot outside right now, so I pulled the tote out of the sun. Like I said, it's just water out of a spigot. I filled it up and then I dragged it over here. I'll post a picture of when I was filling it up for reference. And right now, I'd say it's cool to the touch. I don't know. I don't specify any kind of temperature. I don't try to go in depth with too much stuff here. I just kind of go by the seat of my pants. So I have my body. It has been pre-cleaned. It's ready to rock and roll for like normal paint. I just set it to the side here. I get my paint, which I should have shaken up beforehand, so you have to listen to a little bit of shaking. You want to shake this up pretty good, like you normally would if you're painting a regular body. And while you're shaking, you just want to think about your pattern. Do you want it to be like a color, a solid line, and another color, and repeat that? Or do you want to just be like all sporadic? You don't have to do it all in the center. You can spray it all over the place and just kind of go from there. You will need a stick of some sort. I have my handy dandy paint chopstick that I use to help swirl the paint around more if I don't like the way it's looking at the time. So pretty much how it goes down is, once I'm done shaking these bad boys up, You'll take it, pop all your tops off. You want them handy. You want them lined up right where you think they're going to be. It's nice if you've sprayed them a little bit to get some of that color on them, so you can see maybe what color they are, so you don't have to just kind of, oh, that's special, or have to read the label every time you pick it up. So I put them down as purple, blue, and smoke. And you can also set your caps up so you know what the colors are. So I'm going to shake these up just a little more. I'll probably skip ahead so you guys don't have to listen to the shaking the whole time. I try to do 2 at a time, and I try to swap them out as fast as I can. I don't know exactly how long it takes to set up, but the quicker you can be with the spraying and the amount of layers you do, the less likely it is to like solidify, and then it doesn't work as well. And I'll show you when that happens. Sometimes you can make it work, sometimes you just got to roll with the punches. When you're hydro dipping and you're using just spray paint, you kind of got to literally go with the flow. If you're using a film, I don't know how to do that personally, but if you're using a film, then you know you're laying down a pattern. Spray paint, you kind of just get what you want, but that's what makes it look so nice. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get rolling. So I'm gonna start with the purple, and then I'm gonna go smoke and blue and smoke and purple. I'm gonna put some black lines down and see how that goes. So here we go. I spray for no set amount of time, just how I play it by ear. So here we go. So you kind of hold back a little bit because you want it to be nice and flowy. And you kind of want a lot. You're going to be dipping multiple times here. So see, you kind of just play it by ear. So the black is kind of solidifying, and so is the purple a little bit. You can tell because these rings aren't expanding. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this chopstick, I'm going to try to set it free and see what that did. So you can see that kind of spread everything out, but you got this big glob now, which can happen. So I've got that translucent there. I'm going to spray a little bit more down. So a little more purple, a little more blue, smoke, purple. And just kind of swirl it around, just kind of, I don't know, crazy with it. Take this again, break it open a little bit, try to swirl this around. This is translucent paint too, so it will be clear like this. So I'm gonna go ahead and dip. I like the way this swirl right here looks, so I want to keep that towards the front. So I literally just, here we go. And I just roll it up on there, stick this down, turn it upside down to burp out that water, kind of clear off the top, grab these floaties. There we go. It's been dipped once. So because this is dipping on the inside, it will take multiple dips. So you'll kind of have these stringy bits. You can just pull them off if you want to. You either put them back in the water, or I should have brought a paper towel with me. So I'm going to try to knock the water off as much as I can, because if you don't, every drop that's here, the paint won't stick. So you'll have all those little bubble looks to it. But you can kind of see it now. It's really faint, which is what I wanted, because I want it to be a candy hydro dip. So we're going to try this again. Here we go. We'll start. All right, there, my camera shut off because it overheated. So where I left off is I had got the one dip done. I was just saying, because of all these water droplets, you kind of want to either beat them off or wipe it down a little bit. You got to be careful because you will wipe the paint off. That's also just part of the experience with hydro dipping, that once these water droplets are on, now all the paint where it is will have the little water droplet mark. Anyways, I went ahead and put gloves on. I recommend doing that first because you will get coated in a lot of paint doing hydro dipping, especially when you get, these little leftover bits that you try to clean up. So I'm going to try to get right back into it before my camera overheats again, because it's very hot today. So we'll just go ahead and get right back into it. Some purple, smoke, some blue, a little purple with the blue. break this up so it kind of swirls around a little bit. So I got this big clear spot here. I'm going to try to do that on the back side of the car. So we'll start with the back end down, and I just kind of dip it into the paint and I rotate it, put it down. Once the car is underwater, you burp out all the air and you just kind of clean up the scraggly bits, because you'll have paint that's just hanging off. Clean up the water above the body so you don't bring paint back on it. Rotate it out. You can see that's my... Hey guys, the camera kept dying because it's really hot out here and it keeps overheating, so I went ahead and finished dipping it off camera. You guys were able to see the initial how I do it, and that's exactly how I do it. I just keep repeating those steps over and over. I figured I'd go ahead and show you how the body turned out. I would say that I'm pretty happy with this, seeing that this is my first time trying this with candies. It definitely didn't come out exactly how I wanted to. These paints seem to seize up, like dry on the water pretty quick. So this is about as good as it's going to get dip wise. It got a little darker on this side and the front than it did back here. So what I'm going to do now, and this is what the water looks like afterwards, so I laid down quite a bit of paint. What I'm going to do now is let this dry, and by let this dry I mean get all the water off of it, let it completely dry before I do anything else, because you don't want the water droplets on here because they'll keep the paint from sticking the next coat. So I will let this dry completely, and then I will be backing this with translucent silver and then laying down some lame flake. I won't show those steps because backing it with silver is just like painting a normal car, and laying down a lame flake is pretty much painting a normal car. But I will show you guys the results here a little bit before I wrap this all up. But yeah, so it is dipped. I'm pretty happy overall with how it came out. There is a protective film on the front here, so this looks pretty crazy. Once I peel the film off, it will clean it up a little bit because there's a lot of overlap here on the edges. Yeah, so I'll see you guys on the next step. Thanks. Okay everyone, so my body has had time to dry. It's actually another day, life got in the way, so I let this thing sit overnight to completely dry. Usually you have to wait a few hours. I would say 1 to 2, just depends on how long the water takes to dry. But as you can see, all the paint is dried up. So before you spray your backing coat or lay down your next layer of paint, you want to go around and try to knock all the loose paint off. So inside these crevices, like right here and stuff like that, you'll have paint flaking. So you just kind of get a paper towel or use your hand. It's kind of hard for me to do this at the same time, but you just kind of rub through here and get off everything that you don't want. Because if you have things bridging gaps and stuff like that, when you go to lay your next layer of paint, oh, here's a good example right here. So this is bridged right here. So if I don't get this flat and then knock out the paint, when I go to lay down my next color, this will just be a void, so it won't look right. So you go through, scrape out all the paint you can, tap it out, and then I will spray my next layer, and then I'll show you guys the results of that. So I just backed this with a translucent silver, so everything is still pretty clear. I still see through it really well. That's what I'm going for, because my next layer will be lame flake. But if you weren't doing what I'm doing, essentially you would be done. You would do your backing color and you'd see how well everything kind of pops, and it really does change the way this looks. The protective film is still on, so I haven't removed that yet. It will look even more different once you remove, because all of this out here on this side and some parts over here are actually on the outside and the inside, so it's hard to get the true look of the pattern. But now I'm going to lay some lame flake down and we'll see how sparkly it looks. Alright, so now I've laid my coat of lame flake down. It's a clear coat that just has a really big flake in it, and you can kind of see it. I'm not exactly sure how well it is showing up, but if you see the rainbow colors, that's the lame flake. The reason why I did it under the translucent silver is because I didn't want the rainbow effect. I just wanted it to be sparkly and actually look really metallic. So it's harder to see on this side, but it gives it like a metal look when you do it through the candy. So it's coming out really, really, really nice. I'm extremely happy with how this is. I'm probably going to back this with bright silver, and then that will probably be my last coat. So I'm going to let this dry for a little bit, and then I will put on the final coat. And then I do my bumper trim on the front and the rear on the outside. So I will cut off the film, protective film, and then spray paint that with a gloss black. So we'll see you guys in a minute. All right, so I have painted my trim, the pieces that I wanted black on the outside here, the front bumper, and then I went ahead and touched up those spots with some silver on the inside that were shining through. They still show light, but they're not like big holes like they were earlier. So now the last step is to just go ahead and peel the protective coat, and then I can show you guys how it. And here's the final product. I got it all panel lined up. I decided to go ahead and put all the stickers on. I tried something new with my panel lining. Normally I use the Tamiya panel line stickers that you cut out individually. I went ahead and used a Gundam marker. I build Gundam, so I actually had one, and one of my friends recommended it to me. So I went ahead and tried that, and it came out great in my opinion. It looks really good. All the stickers went on really well. I actually like MST stickers. I cut out the tint because I don't like the way it looks. But I hope you guys enjoyed seeing how my hydro dipping process goes, and I hope this inspires you guys to try it yourself. It's really not difficult. It's a lot of fun to do. The results are great because you can try and plan it, but it usually just kind of goes how it wants to go. So you get really unique patterns, and the bodies come out really quite nice. And I'm really happy with how my experiment with putting lane flake under the candy turned out, because this thing, I don't know how well it's showing up on video, but in person it looks like it's aluminum. It's really quite nice. So thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe if you don't mind. I do plan on trying to make more videos. I'm hopefully in the future going to be updating my mobile track setup that I have, and yeah, I want to make a video over that as well. So you guys have a great day. Thank you for watching.